city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right.
Live from Spectrum Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA. This is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Well, hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab, my happy people. It is great to be back with the four of you, Ezra Parter, Jackie K, Evan Liu, Brennan Vogt. My name is Adrian Hernandez. This is the Mile High Hockey Lab, the 123rd edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab. You guys had some fun without me, and I loved it. It was nice to not hear my bias for an entire episode. It was incredible. So thank you all for doing your thing in my stead while I was indeed off learning how to mine gold on the mountains of Hawaii, as you all mentioned.
I was going to ask, did you find any golds? Bring back any riches for us?
Yes, gold was found in them hills of Hawaii. What a beautiful place.
Evan looks like an
How
evil
about
villain.
How about a rainbow?
We saw a rainbow and we saw a whale. So, I mean, that's chalk it up as a great trip, right? So it was a great time. My fair complexion is not built for such a place. I'll just put it that way. So if I have a little tinge of red, it's not the light in my room. It's literally my skin. I got a little Santa Claus to me right now. But let's get to the hockey, because while I was gone, there was plenty of hockey. The Avalanche just keep winning. What's new? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll look at last week's action, look a little bit ahead at what we have in store this coming week before our next episode. Hash out y'all's bold predictions from last week, which I loved. And we will have a little open discussion about this Colorado Avalanche season as it's setting up inside of the division, with a little nudge to the Dallas Stars and Minnesota Wild. So that's kind of what's on the docket today. Let's just get straight to talking about it right after I drop the website, milehighhockey.com, where you can find all of our written material. You can also find some written material from Evan Liu and Brendan Vogt at hockeymountainhigh.com. That is another publication where you can find all things Avalanche, which is pretty much what all five of us do. Let's start with you, Jackie, our fearless managing editor at Mile High Hockey. You kind of had it pegged in last week's episode as one of your bold predictions was that the Avalanche would lose to Nashville. They did indeed. What do you see when you look at the Nashville Predators? I know Barry Trotz had some choice words for his own group, and since then they've been pretty successful. Is that really what it took to turn the page in Nashville?
First of all, I'm sorry. I know it had to be done. I mean, come on, the double rematch. It just was too much. Sure. I couldn't leave that one on the table. I honestly don't know what Trotz said. We kind of went into why I made that prediction last week. I think with Yossi back, they're a better team. I mean, they're not, on paper, they're not the worst team in the league. They have talent there. They have ability. Saros is a good goalie. So it just, maybe they were due for a little bit of upwards regression. And then when you get, veterans need a little bit of motivation. So maybe when they start seeing they're stringing some wins together, they bring a little bit more motivation to the table. Or also the trade chatter, someone like O'Reilly's getting a lot of talk. Maybe that also adds to the motivation. So I think maybe all of that mixed together is caused them to start playing a little bit better. So
yeah. The quote I'm talking about is in the Tennessean, I believe it was on the 24th in November. And he said, basically, I need more expletive from them. I need more. And he was in reference to kind of all of the leaders. So I think maybe you're right. Like it could be kind of a perfect storm scenario where they're getting a little bit of a prod from their coach. They're getting some guys back and they're kind of falling into a groove. So, when you come into a game like last night's game going up against the Kraken, it felt like the Avs had to do their best to lose that game just based on the way those two teams stack up. I don't think that's really true when you play a Predators team. I think on paper, the Predators look like they can be a very competitive team. So it's interesting that you were kind of keying on, and of course, that's been your theme all season, that the revenge game is a thing. Ezra, I want to move on to you and talk about Sam Malinsky, who we've kind of been talking about all year, and it's all been good. And that's a wonderful thing when you're talking about a defender, especially inside this Avalanche team where we were kind of scratching our heads wondering if they would make additions to the back end. Well, Malinsky is filled into a role where he's really not replaceable right now. He had 3 points in the last 4 games and a 2-point performance against the Panthers. Tell me what you're seeing from Mr. Malinsky right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really encouraging to see him continue to take strides forward. He's playing the offensive game that I think we knew to expect him to be able to do, but to an extent where it's been extremely effective. It's been more effective than I think anybody was expecting. He's already he's on pace for massive uptick in point totals for the season, and I think part of that is a little bit of puck luck, to be frank. I mean, things are going in that maybe weren't going in for him in previous seasons, but also the team around him being so strong makes it easier for him to convert the chances he creates into actual points, right? But where I've really seen improvement from him is his battle on the wall, in front, just playing a hard defensive game in a way that he wasn't. I think he didn't profile as somebody who was capable of doing that, but he is doing that. He's never going to be Josh Manson out there throwing punches at guys behind the net, but he is going to be somebody who can win a battle in the corner, particularly because he's really, really good with his stick and his positioning. And in front of the net, he's a little bit smaller, so he's still a little bit challenged in that area in the same way we've seen from Sam Girard, but he's very effective in the defensive end. And Jared Bednar earlier in the season commented on his increased aggressiveness and battle as something that he was really excited about and looking forward to see continue to grow. And I think Malinsky has risen to that challenge.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, because I think that's imperative to being successful on a Jared Bednar team, is embodying a little bit of that. No matter what your stature is, it has to be a part of the player you are to a tune. And that's kind of what we didn't see from guys like Middlestat and some of these other experiments. That wasn't a part of their story. They didn't really find that groove. And I think as a whole, this Avalanche team in general presents as a grittier squad than the ones in the years past. Maybe even grittier than the 2022 team. I think maybe that team had more character grit in terms of like Kadri and some of more like the top heavy gritty guys. But I think as a whole, this unit is very gritty, which is encouraging for me because I think still the competition is the Dallas Stars. But before we get into that, Brendan, somebody who is not experiencing puck luck like Sam Malinsky, we could argue, is Gabe Landeskog, who was
you shut your mouth
gonna score last night until Brock Nelson deflected it. It did actually look like that puck was going wide on a different angle, but nonetheless, like Gabe has had a tough go of it in terms of puck luck, but he's played every single game. And we saw a little bit of a weird collision last night where he kind of stiffened up and went up, kind of, sorry for the expletive, but ass over tea kettle, and stiffened a little. Are we concerned? Hasn't had any games off. Do we expect him to take one anytime soon, or is this just who Gabe is?
I believe it was Evan Rawl that or Corey from the Denver Post that may have posted a story saying that they found a routine that is working and that he's got it figured out. So I'm not worried at all.
Awesome.
And so, he's only been getting better each week. I mean, you saw that delayed icing that was going to be called at the end of the game, and he at a 22-mile-an-hour pace screamed down the ice to call off the icing. When was the last time you saw Gabriel Landeskog go 22 miles an hour?
Yeah.
So, I think I'm back.
Yeah. Nice. Solid quote there. I think he's back too, because as you explained, and as this question was built, we've seen pretty much everything we need to see. That's like, okay, well, how's he going to respond to this? I don't think we've seen, obviously there's the next thing, which is just something he wouldn't be able to respond to, which would be an actual injury. Knock on wood, hope that never happens again. But other than that, he's passed every test and he still shows up. He has the potential. I think, Brandon, that's your goal prediction. I think you have him having 30. I think you might get closer than we're comfortable with.
Yeah, and he's getting how many called off?
That's what I'm saying.
So if you count the ones that are getting called off, he's gonna get 30. But I know you can't count those. And then it's more than goals, it's more than assists with him. It's things like what I posted the day before they took off for Seattle, that he literally kept the first power play unit on the ice after practice. I saw him go up to all four guys other than Kale. Like, I actually saw him go up to Kale and say, "Go. We don't need you right now." But he kept all the forwards on the ice and then did extra practice with them.
Interesting.
And so it's tiny things like that you've got from the captain that you didn't have the last 3 years. And so when you got things like that in the room, it's only going to help.
Yeah. And to your point, like, maybe that's what I'm picking up on with the grit too, because it's kind of a mindset thing. And even Ross Colton in the post game a couple nights ago said, like, it's felt different this season than years past when I've been here from the jump, from training camp. So that really is encouraging with the Landeskog situation. Jackie, do you have something you want to say about Landeskog here?
No, I was just maybe Kale should also be practicing the power play.
I don't know why
he's exempt.
Honestly, I don't know why he was exempt. Maybe he needed to go get some treatment on something. I'm not speculating, but it's just he made an effort to call out all the forwards on the first power play unit and do extra 10 minutes of practice. And there's the kitty. But I felt like that was a captain move. And that's something that we have not seen in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I would agree. We've seen a lot of that already. We've seen a lot of goals with effort goals, stuff like that too.
Yeah, and when the power play was struggling last year before the playoffs and then into the playoffs, but before the playoffs, you didn't see Gabe do that because he wasn't able to. I think he felt like he wasn't allowed to do that at that point. Right. He didn't have room to talk, if that makes sense. Now he's got room to talk and say, okay, guys, I've been on the ice with you for 25, 30 games or something like that. Now it's time for me to make the adjustments and let's get our act together.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there had to have been, we saw it even when he was with the Eagles. He mentioned it the night we were there together, Brendan, that he kind of wanted to make it even there at that level, kind of fill it out and not be, immediately act like one of the guys, and kind of eased his way even into that room for the short amount of time he was there. So it makes sense that he would do that kind of tenfold with the big boys, especially with, the talent that's on the ice for the Avalanche. He's got to earn his keep. And it kind of goes a long way towards the character of the team when your captain is kind of abiding by that whole you earn your ice time standard. Like, he's not just being thrusted into a top 6 role because he's Gabe Landeskog and the captain of the Avalanche. Like, he's performing, and he's performing well.
And he's even had his time cut. He's been shot down to the third line. He's been put up to the second. He's been up to the first. And so it's something that he has to earn himself. And a lot of these guys have never played with him before.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Nelson, before the playoffs last year, never played with him before. Ross Colton never played with him before. Kiwi Ranta never played with him before. I can keep going. Both goalies had never played with him before. So, he's got to earn everyone's trust.
Yeah, that's a good point. Those are guys who've never played with him before. And now, Evan, I want to ask you about a guy that he'll probably never play with ever again, which is Mikko Rantanen and the Dallas Stars, who, despite the Avalanche success this season, really aren't going anywhere. They're not going anywhere in terms of the headlines, and they're not going anywhere in terms of the standings either. Obviously, they have had games in hand kind of throughout the last month and a half or so, but still they're sitting there kind of lurking. How important is it really for the Avalanche to have something like this to beat and to chase inside of a season that otherwise they won't experience a ton of, I guess, fight back otherwise? Like, is this a good carrot on the end of the stick sort of scenario for the Avalanche, despite it being slightly frustrating?
I'd say so. It's like I think Jackie mentioned it last week or a couple of weeks ago, where the Avs would be 10 plus points ahead of everybody else if they were in any other division. Yeah. So to have Dallas and Minnesota, frankly, in the same division chasing you, it's good to have at least some, I guess, competitive spirit and something to chase for, right? You, especially now after the Quinn Hughes trade, which I know we'll get into later. The Central Division is just an absolute juggernaut, and I know that we have talked about before. It doesn't really matter if you whatever seed you get in the playoffs. I think it matters this season because then you at least avoid a Dallas or a Minnesota if you are the number 1 seed, and then you can play the San Jose Sharks like the Avs I think are projected to right now after the playoffs started today. So very very big difference between the San Jose Sharks, respectfully, despite Macklin Celebrity's goal last night. Spectacular. That was a great goal, by the way. But that is very different than the Dallas Stars or the Minnesota Wild. So definitely something that the Avs need to be on top of. And Rantanen, I don't know, this could kind of be a controversial topic, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But Mikko Rantanen's been hurting some guys this year. Yeah. The last one, Darcy Kemper, I know was the last. I don't remember the other two that he hurt, but
Coronado and New York Islander, I can't remember. He was a defenseman. Romanov. Yep.
Yeah. So
did Kemper actually end up hurt, or was he pulled by a spotter?
He's on IR.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, sent to IR the next morning.
So he was hurt. Because my initial read on that was like, oh, maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked. And
I don't think it was a penalty. I don't think they called a
penalty.
No,
because he wasn't in the crease. But I mean,
well, and like the only thing I've seen was that Kemper was laying on the ground and Rantanen standing over him like, dude, you okay?
Yeah.
And then like the next morning I saw Ontario had to call up their ECHL goalie and they sent up their goalie to LA.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just very interesting.
I don't know. I think it's more looking for a narrative for the sake of looking for a narrative.
Listen,
I mean, if you
Jamie Benn is much different than Gabe Landeskog as a captain. I'm just,
but I don't know. Is Mikko Rantanen the new Brad Marchand?
Is the giant rat the moose rat? What kind of animal is that? The moose rat. Yeah, no way.
It seems like something my dad would get tattooed on his body as a moose rat or something.
I just learned a lot about your dad, and I think
for
I
real.
like him.
AI, make us a picture of a moose rat.
Yeah, we'll get to work on the moose rat shirt. But it's the Mikko Rantanen thing. It's hard for me to I don't want to bite because it's the easiest thing for me to be fired up about because I love Mikko when he was an Avalanche. And I mean, he's wearing the other colors, so I don't really like him all that much now. And in fact, I have a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. Naturally, I'm grateful, but I'm also don't want to see him succeed. So watching him goon it up while having an incredibly productive season, not to mention it coming largely on the power play, and the Avalanche are enjoying all of their success without much success on the power play. It's just kind of the two things are still correlated, and we're gonna be talking about it for a while, and so we can open that discussion about the Dallas thing. I'll leave it up in the air, but I also want to start, implant this question in there with Jackie, which is about the Minnesota Wild and Quinn Hughes. As Evan mentioned, the Central Division is a juggernaut now. It kind of was already, just kind of got a little more of a juggernaut. Does the Quinn Hughes versus Cale Makar noise get even louder now that they're in the same division and kind of division rivals?
Oh, I'm sure it will. Yeah, all those Vancouver fans that carried water for Hughes. I don't know how they're gonna survive or what they're gonna think about on a daily basis, but
they've already turned. They've started saying Makar is better than Hughes and that they can stop pretending about it, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, yeah, I think it will be even. I mean, they're going to see each other more often. It's going to be a closer comparison. I think so. I think he's got to settle into the fabric of that team, but I'm sure it's going to be part of it. Look, I already think the Avs look bored. I don't think they've looked bored for a month. So, all their slow starts, it's just the other teams can't get a big enough lead. We saw the Islanders gave them their second regulation loss because they were the team that was able to get a lead far enough that the Avs couldn't come back. So they have these slow starts, they get down one, that's meaningless. But I think they've looked bored for at least a month. So I don't, boy, what are they going to look like in February and March as they, I mean, hopefully they don't completely nap through it, but I just think it's just so hard to have that fire. And yeah, we see it, they turn it on and they start to care near the end of the game and do it enough to win. And I'm not necessarily saying as a criticism because it's human nature. It's just the way it is. I don't know how you stop that because you have to have motivation, you have to have a reason. And so this Central Division battle is a good thing, like I've said several times. And I do hope it continues because it will not benefit them if they have 10 or more point lead in the division. I mean, it'd be, and I agree, it'd be nice to get the 1 seed to avoid that first round, the 2-3 first round matchup. So that does matter, but boy, like I said, I already think they look bored.
Yeah. So, well, that's good that you mentioned, because you have talked about it being a good thing that Dallas is still part of the hunt and home ice and all that will be important, I think, this postseason. But the thing that's really going to be tough for them to keep going through is knowing that all of this has to be proven in the playoffs, right? No matter amount of how much success they achieve this regular season, we'll still all be tuned in to round one, game one, going, well, you still got to prove it for basically 16 more wins. You can't have this sort of regular season and look at people and be mad when everyone's like, yeah, they're the cup favorite. So that's where this team is going. And it will be we're all going to get anxious, much less the players, as we get closer and closer to April.
I guess it does
be antsy.
Kind of bring up a question. What is a fair expectation at this point? I think make it past the second round, that was always the fair expectation. And I know you can't just say truly you have to win or you weren't good enough, but there's that middle ground. It's hard to win, right? When we can't say that they're a failure. They have to win the Stanley Cup or they're a failure. But where in that is a fair expectation? Because like you said, with this start, just making it past the second round, does that feel good enough? Or they have to at least make it the finals? Like what truly is a fair expectation at this point?
I got a good answer for this. And I kind of want to go back to a different thing afterwards that Jackie brought up, but you have to make the cup final, surely, right? Like at the very least, because Central's tough, right? If I think the Avs, they should get that number one seed. I think that is the ultimate goal, right? In this regular season is to get the best positioning possible, all that good stuff. If you go through, the first round, it'll probably be, one of a mix of San Jose, Utah, I guess Nashville, if they get up there, Winnipeg, if they get back up there, something along those lines that seems beatable. I think the second round would probably be the hardest. You'd face a Dallas or a Minnesota, and then in the conference final, you'd be against a Pacific team, which, if I'm being honest, the only one that really scares me is Vegas. And even then, like, the Avs beat Vegas pretty good. And I think it was Halloween Day or whatever it was, that Nevada day. That was a very good win. So I think you have to make the cup final, surely, at the very least. And to kind of go back to what Jackie was talking about in terms of like the Central Division and trying to figure out, just a good matchup and whatnot, and just being competitive. We didn't really talk about them, but the Winnipeg Jets, they just got Connor Hellebuyck back. He's been out for
3-4 weeks.
Yeah, exactly, a month. And I mean, the Avs host Winnipeg this Friday. It's good to be home because I'll be there. That's why you saw the cat, Brennan. And so that's a good test because I assume Hellebuyck will be playing in that game, right? And Hellebuyck's always kind of been a kryptonite for the Avalanche, right? If you have a fresh Connor Hellebuyck off of injury coming to Denver, who at one point had, what was it, a 2-3 game shutout streak against the Avs, that's a good test for the Avalanche to see if they can really keep it rolling.
And we'll see John Tays for the first time in 3 years too.
That's true.
I forgot that he's on the Jets already, if I'm being quite frank.
Well, because I think he was out for like 2 weeks because he was out with the injury, but he hasn't been too Yeah, he hasn't been too impressive.
Yeah, we'll see this version of him. It's not the same guy.
Exactly. It's like Ezra said, it's not the same guy. But the soft spot was always the Avalanche for John Tays. He always seemed to find their weak point and scoring the shootout and all that stuff. So
I didn't know Hellebuyck was. I knew he was injured. I didn't know he was back. So that'll help. It'll help them. Probably not against the Avs, especially at home, but they need a little boost up the standings. So that probably will help them.
Yeah, he's a great regular season goalie against the Avs. Like, not a good sound effect. That's like a
no.
That's not like
you need the or whatever.
I still can't imagine the league's MVP can't ever get it together in the playoffs. I don't know. I don't take that as a given. Like I get what happened in that series, but would I count on that happening every single time? No.
No, and that Winnipeg team had holes in it coming into the playoffs, and then they were just very exposed. Hellebuyck was a big part of it, obviously, but I think that Winnipeg team was the best version of the Jets, and they've only gotten worse since then. I know we've gotten to the Jets, and I had looked up a bunch of stats about them coming into the show, and they have. I think what their problem is this season. They have one player posting decent analytics, and it's Dylan Sandberg, who's only played 16 games, right? He missed the first chunk of the season. And since coming back, he's solidified one of the defense pairs, but all the others are bad. So they're really struggling up and down the lineup to do anything consistently at 5-on-5. And on top of that, they've gone from having one of the top power plays in the league every year to just middle of the pack this season. And I think a lot of both of these things comes down to they replaced Nikolai Ehlers with Gustav Nyquist, who's actually been one of their better analytic players, but just isn't the same kind of, high-end offensive creator that Ehlers is. And yeah, they never really had a chance once they lost Ehlers to keep up what they were doing. because so much of it was reliant on him creating on the power play, him being a dominant player in the middle six that they never put on the top line for some reason, and then relying on Hellebuyck, obviously, who as soon as he's out of the lineup, they can't string together a couple of wings anymore. Even with him in the lineup, though, they're just not the same team.
Yeah, that's Velarde's funny one of my personal favorites. Always will be.
I like Velarde too. Velarde is like, I'm afraid to talk about guys like I talk about Velarde because the last other person I talked about like this was Martin Necas, and it cost me my favorite Av to get him. And so the universe was like, oh, really? You like Martin Necas? Well, here you go, friend. This is how you're going to get it. But yeah, Velarde's a great player.
I thought you said Vladdy, and I was like,
no.
The temporary Av and longtime Tampa Bay Lightning player.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the Jets. It's funny, Ezra, that I asked you in the script, what's missing in Winnipeg? How about their MVP goalie?
Yeah, for real.
What a question. But Brennan, that just kind of leaves the mammoth in terms of the games that might happen between now and our next episode. They'll happen. Whether or not we'll have an episode is the if or maybe. But that last team is the Mammoth, who were looking like a decent team out of the gate. Right now, they're struggling to get back to a 500 team. This might shape up like one of those got to get up for it, even though there's not much to get up for games for the Avalanche. Is that kind of the key to victory for you?
Well, they stopped scoring, first off. Nick Schmaltz was one of the top scorers in the league and coming out of the gate, and then all of a sudden he just went and it's like, whoopee cushion, just all the air went out of him.
Yeah.
My fantasy team doesn't like it, but
what's that?
I said my fantasy team doesn't like it.
Yeah, neither. Same here. And then who's the D-man? Nate something, I can't remember.
Schmidt.
Yeah, he was doing really well at the beginning of the year, and all of a sudden he just
it should be Sergachev. He's their better.
Yeah, Sergachev is their top leading defenseman, but he seems to not even be scoring either. So it's something. It's got to be something with their system.
They just have to be more consistent. Like, they can score, and they do have big scores, but it's just not all the time.
Well, they just need to get on ESPN and talk about their airport more.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, they just need that owner on camera so that they can score goals. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Brendan. I get it. Well, like, it's funny because like Dylan Guenther, he's scoring. Like, it looks like he's had 6 points in his last 6 games, so he's up on the board. They're just one of those teams, man, that like should be good, can be good, but doesn't gel in one performance.
The number
didn't they lose Cooley?
Yeah,
they did lose Cooley.
He's only missed
like a week or two ago. And, and the funny part is
before he left the lineup.
And the funny part is that gosh, who was it? TSN, or I think it was TSN, got caught using the AI with his score.
Yeah. What?
It was ridiculous because
the AI summary. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You got it.
The AI summary was that it's like, oh, he's out for the whole year, blah 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 blah, and then it went on to say like what player he is, but then it said last year he won the Hart Memorial Trophy, and he did. Where did you all get that?
Yeah.
It's like, what type of rookie writer did this? And oh wait, the rookie writer doesn't exist.
Oh, he's not human.
Yeah.
Welcome to the year 2025, about to be 2026, where there are robots coming for your job.
And what's funny is, you guys saw me and Ryan in the Slack chat talking about that earlier in the week, calling out another writer about that. And he's just like, yeah, this is starting to get ridiculous. And
I have a great idea. This just happened. We need to make a fictional AI writer who just writes the dumbest articles all the time as satire. Yeah. And it's like a combination.
And we need help. We should get an AI writer.
Absolutely not.
And historic
can get away with it. Maybe we can.
Historic Detroit Red Wing Patrick Waugh.
Right.
All right, let's wrap this up. Come on.
All right. Fine. We're delving into the AI talk. What kind of podcast is this? But
maybe we are AI. How do
who knows? I've had people ask me if you're real, Jackie, because you always just have your icon, and I'm like, she's real, I swear.
She's real. Awesome. We've all met her.
You think anybody could make this up?
Oh, that's great. Well,
no one can make her anger up.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's get into y'all's bold predictions from last week, because your host for last episode, Handsome Ezra, was kind enough to give me everyone's predictions, and I did in fact get the results outside of one, Brendan, which I'll need your help with because the AHL doesn't post individual statistics.
Yes, they do.
Well, they do, but they're hard to find.
No, they're not.
Okay, well, you send me the link, but it sounds like you'll have my back either way, you jabroni. Evan, you said that the Avalanche would have a shutout. I'm assuming you said the Avalanche because you've made that mistake once before.
Yes, I've learned. Don't worry. I've learned.
That did not happen. You said that the Avs would beat the Panthers by an identical scoreline to the 96 final, which is a really awesome bold prediction, by the way. Congratulations on coming up with that one. However, 6-2.
I'll take the pat on the back.
Yeah,
I will say that was my first game back in Denver. First off, it's good to be home, and that was a great game to go to. They had the nice 1996 ceremony before. Got to see the cup, all that good jazz, and that 8-1 scoreline was pretty good.
Which I ended up sitting next to Warren Reichel the following night in the Eagles box, and he even said, he was like, "Yeah, I'm still coming down from those parties."
That's awesome. Yeah, that was a great
night
game.
all around.
I got a that game was so boring.
Joe Sakic bobblehead.
Terrible.
If any of you out there got a Joe Sakic bobblehead, you know that it doesn't look anything like Joe Sakic. I don't know if there's ever been a worse likeness bobblehead. Like, I don't even want to show people. It feels like a Temu Joe Sakic bobblehead.
I'll go show people. Hold on, give me a second.
Go find it. Jackie, you unfortunately were correct and earned a ding in predicting that the Avalanche would lose to the Predators in one of those games, which brings you to a total of 6 correct bold predictions, which puts you in a 2-point lead right now ahead of Ezra, who has 4. You also said that they would score a power play goal in every game.
I tried that hope. I know. They took one back. They took Nature's goal off, but then I think they just didn't even score one the next game. So not so close. But I was going to be mad if I would have got it, except for that goal that was taken back.
Jackie, you should have added the word average. They'll average a power play.
No.
Somebody should have boldly predicted that Martin Necas would try to put the puck in with his hand. And that would have been incredible. But Brendan, you had a Trent Miner shutout. Unfortunately, that was not a thing. You also had a Brad Marchand goal, I'm assuming in the game against the Avalanche. That didn't happen either. Thank God that didn't happen, because I
could have spared one.
Yeah, they could have spared one.
I think they would have been okay.
Spare a goal.
And I think I also had a Felly Shorty.
Did that happen? That's the one I needed your help with.
No, it almost did. It like him and Nielsen were going down the ice, and Nielsen shot it instead of passing it across the ice, and I gave both of them crud for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has 3. He has 3 shorthanded goals this season.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, had you passed it and had Felly gotten that, I would have gotten my bet. And they just laughed at me. Because Felly knows I always put bets on him because he usually gets them.
Yes, those are sure dings usually. But last week we gave you 3 and you went 0 for. I am so sorry.
Yeah, well,
Ezra, you had Malinsky getting more 5-on-5 minutes than Sam Girard. I don't know.
I did the math. I came up short by 20 seconds.
Oh,
And it's just
Pretty
because
brutal.
they gave Gerard extra minutes in that Panthers game to work on his work his way back.
Yeah. Few tornadoes is all he needed. And then
Yeah.
you had Gabe Landeskog with a 4-point week. He did not, but he had 2. He had 2 points. So you spurred on a little bit of success for him.
But I have to say I'm encouraged by my season-long prediction, Colton spending more games at center than wing.
I was going to bring that up because I read it today and went, hey, you know what? That's actually happening right now.
Yeah.
And we've gotten a lot from Ross Colton in terms of sound bites this year that are way more positive than I think we would have expected kind of in the first few weeks of the season, because he was part of talks, of being unhappy, maybe wanting to be traded. Who knows how validated those even are. But
it took him 3 weeks to notice that he had a stash.
Yeah, it took him 3 weeks. Yeah, exactly. To shave and to realize he was on the best team in the National Hockey League. So, like he said, when you're winning, everything kind of feels better. Even unless you're Bardakov and you're getting sat, which you guys talked about on the last episode. I did want to touch on that before we kind of finished. And before we do our bold predictions. Well, actually, let's save that for right after. Let's run the sponsor, give our bold predictions, and then we'll talk about the situation ship down in that bottom 6 right now. So let's do this.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
All that bold talk.
All right. Well, folks, for those of you who are listening, Evan has the Joe Sakic bobblehead to the screen. Ezra, what do you think of that thing? Show us again, Evan.
I haven't even actually looked at this closely yet, and
it's horrible.
It's pretty rough.
Oh wow,
it's pretty rough.
That is bad.
The jersey's cool.
That's my first time seeing
the Sakic on the back.
I mean,
cool.
yeah,
get a stick out of it.
It's not quite the Dwayne Wade statue in Miami, but it's not close.
It makes me intrigued. I love collecting bobbleheads, so I was lucky that I'm home for this one, but the other two, I think it's Forsberg and then Landeskog.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be here for those, but I do wonder if they'll at least be a little bit better than these ones are.
I wonder if they're the same ones for Landeskog, just with a different name on the back. Because if you're going to be that far off with Sakic, you can be that far off with Landeskog too.
The same jersey too, the '96 jersey and the black
and
pants
and the C. No, that's a good point. That's got to be a little different. Fair enough. I
don't know. We'll see. But yeah, not pretty, that's for sure. But yeah, let Joe Sakic stare you in your eyes.
Cool, nonetheless. I also got this. Show you guys this cool thing that I got in the mail. They sent out to season ticket holders. And we're dropping shit. It's a jacket. Cool, right? And it's got Avs Faithful on it. And
nice.
On the sleeve, it has all of the different patches from the different celebratory seasons.
Wait, just rip the 20th one off.
Yeah, that one.
We want to forget that year.
Yeah, that was the 48-point season. If anybody was,
it was. That was a horrible year.
Yes. Well, let's get into our bold predictions then. Jackie, let's start with you since you're our leader right now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to say we are due for a McKinnon hat trick, and I'm putting that on the board till our next show. So if we don't have one next week, I'm going to let that one ride, but
okay. I
think he's due. The other one is, and maybe you guys are thinking about this one, but since I went first, I'm taking it. Makar will double Hughes' points in their matchup coming up.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's great. Yeah. No, it's great. That's the right prediction.
Hughes with his death stare now.
Yeah. Jackie, you had McKinnon hat trick to start, right? I'm not losing my mind?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I write it down correct. All right, McKinnon
so that
hat trick.
one's more of a long time one. Obviously, the Makar one is specific
to that head-to-head. Okay.
Yes.
I like it. Honestly think that Minnesota getting better is good, and good for Bill Guerin for going for it, man. You don't get a lot of chances, and he's going full send, and I dig it.
I like the move. I think they gave up what they could give up. Like, I don't really even think it's gonna hurt them that bad. Like, they're gonna rent a center. They'd never liked Rossi. Like, Zeev is good, but Hughes is better right now. I don't really even think they gave up like anything crazy. So I think good for them, and I think they're gonna sign him too.
I think Bouillon being involved makes me feel like it's a lot because I really like him, but that's remains to be proven. So it's hard for me to like stand on that.
I watched Bouillon for 2 years before he got to the NHL and know what he's capable of and seen his growth. So yeah, the kid's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. So,
but like Zeev's hit the highest possible he could hit is probably not as good as Quinn Hughes.
100%.
Right? So, I mean, it's such a swing and a hit for me, for Minnesota and for Vancouver for the same reason. If you have to replace Quinn Hughes, a guy who could be almost Quinn Hughes in a couple of years is the best possible scenario. So win-win.
Bouillon's got so much more personality too.
Well,
although I say win-win, but I also don't think either of those teams is going to win a cup with those guys.
Yeah,
no,
win-win but lose. So
I'm just saying, like in general, it's like during interviews, if you watch interviews with Quinn Hughes, he's just so monotone and so just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. Whereas Zeev's like, he has, there is personality to him and, he still wants to be there. And you can see it on his face when he plays, where Quinn, you just can't see it anymore. And it's like, do you even want to do this? Because there's a lot of guys that will take your place.
Yeah. Well, it feels like it's really weird. Vancouver does that to a lot of guys, it appears.
Yeah. I was going to say, it has to be hard to answer the same, why is your team bad question every game.
Well, it's better than, why are you so pissy?
Yeah.
That's true.
It's true. And we have our first feline appearance of the episode. Second feline appearance. Evan, once again, has a furry feline friend.
It's good to be home. I'm telling you.
It's good to be back. Yeah. Cat will never forget your smell. As soon as you walk in, Evan. Oh, just kidding. Oh man, I'm off the rails today, boys and girl. Ezra, let's get your bold prediction, my friend.
All right. I'm gonna go. The Winnipeg game is closer. The final score of the Winnipeg game is closer than the final score of the Minnesota game. I think probably it'll be a harder game to win in Minnesota, but I'm just predicting one of those third period explosions. And then let's do a player one. I'm goaltending. Let's get 2 goals from Ross Colton.
I like it.
In one game or just like over the whole time?
No, 2 goals till our next episode.
Okay.
It could very well be that there are only 2 games. So if that happens, that'll be very impressive. Depending on if we do a Tuesday show before the Tuesday game. Yeah. So, but that is wonderful. I love Ross Colton predictions. I tried to spur on a little bit of Jack Drury 2 weeks ago. That didn't quite work out for me. He did score, but not in the game I was hoping for. So hopefully
we should touch on him real quick because in the last game, the fourth line, not a single shot against them. Not a single shot. That's amazing. Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, I want to talk about depth when we're done with this.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that Bardakov,
which I do want to mention. Evan did write a piece, and it's up on our website right now. So
that's why I wanted to talk about it. Brennan and
I am just giving a plug. Come on, learn about it.
Love it. Well, Evan, plug it again because it's your time to make a bold prediction.
Yeah, I was going to make one about the depth because there are some intriguing things about it. That's for sure. And Victor Olofsson finally scored. I don't remember. It was earlier this week.
It was the same game that Drury scored, which was kind of like the get off the schneid game.
Yeah. So Olofsson needed to kind of get things going again, and I think he'll do the same again. I'll also go 2 goals this week for Olofsson.
Love it.
I like that one. I feel like he can just kind of pop up and just show up and show out sometimes, and so I go with that. And then the last bold prediction that I'll do. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do because that Utah game, I don't know if we'll do it before our next show before the Utah game, but I'll make one about that Utah game on the 23rd because the Avs do love that game on the 23rd, right before Christmas, the Christmas break. The holiday roster freeze I know is coming up. I think Saturday is when that happens. So there's not going to be a lot of
3
change.
days from now.
Yeah, so the Avs will kind of have what they have, and I think that it will lead to them giving up 25 shots or less against Utah.
Ooh, nice. 25 or less against Utah. Let's just say it now that even if we have our episode ahead of the Utah game, we'll consider the Utah game as part of these bold predictions. That way we have the typical kind of 3 games that we usually get, because 2 games is not a lot. Makes our bold predictions incredibly bold, especially when it comes to these individual predictions. But Brennan, you're up next, my friend. What you got for me?
So holiday freeze is 20th through the 27th. So we have actual solid dates on that. So if the Avs are going to pull up anyone, they're going to pull them up probably on the 19th.
Good to know.
But if they have an injury, but just to know, if they somehow get an injury after that, they can do it for injury reasons.
Yeah, like emergency recalls are a different story, saying like with goalies and stuff. But basically rosters are set for that week. But anyways, I'm going to go with the Barons goal. He does not have one in 19 games.
Wow.
He's got 6 assists, and he's getting his face punched quite a bit.
Jeez,
it's true.
Poor
the
guy.
Kid can take a punch. I will tell you that. And then I will go Posh, 1 goal allowed in the probably 1 game that he's going to play.
Okay. He's been doing pretty well down there, you mentioned in the last episode.
Yeah, and it's a 6 o'clock start on Saturday and a 3 o'clock start on Sunday, so they're probably going to do split on Minor and Posh. So,
Gotcha. Okay, well then that just leaves my bold predictions, and I'll do them pretty quick here. I will say that the Avalanche score 6 or more against Minnesota.
If they have Wallstead in net, that's a very bold prediction.
Wow. I like it though.
And I think that the Utah game, which I believe is in Colorado, I believe the Avalanche will have a shutout in that game.
I like it.
I can never say his name, but we don't play well against that goalie, I don't think.
Vizmelka?
Vizmelka. I just want to say the Wild haven't given up more than 4 goals since October 26th.
Yeah, and I think that's when Wallstead came up and started just tearing up the NHL.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's bold.
It's bold. It's bold. I love it. Just putting context out there. Wallstead hasn't given up that many. Oh no, he did. He was in the goal that game. The other big games were all Gustafsson though. Big goals against games.
That will be a hard-earned ding if it does in fact happen. But while we have it looks like we have like 10 minutes or so. Let's get into that discussion about depth. We've teased it a few different ways. We've talked about Bardakov being benched, which came in response to Gavin Brindley's return to the lineup and promotion, and as well as Kiwi Ranta returning to the lineup, who is rounding out a 4th line that, as Ezra mentioned, didn't even allow a shot in the 3rd period, right, of the last game?
No, the entire game.
Of the entire game, even crazier. Yeah. So it feels like that bottom 6 is relatively sorted out. And it also feels like the signing of Brent Burns has really brought stability to that defensive core, along with the resurgence of Sam Malinsky. Are there a lot of holes to fill? And how are we feeling about the Bardakov situation and that depth in the forward group? Let's kick it off with Jackie. We'll start with you.
Let's see. I guess you could see it coming with Bardakov sitting. I guess we'll see how that plays out. I mean, all it takes is one injury, knock on wood. Not that we want that, but it's probably easy to get him back in for that reason. I think Benner hasn't been shy with this is what he wants. I think he wants Drury as the 4C, and he even said ideally he wants them to go out and get a 3C, which that probably is on their deadline shopping list.
But who do you give up?
Olofsson.
Really?
Picks or people in the minors they don't care about anymore, or I mean, if they were going to get like a real upgrade, like a Deneau or however you say his name from LA, then you probably would give up Colton.
Yeah,
I think
I don't know if he's an upgrade anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Plus, he also does want to leave LA anyways, so that's what I saw yesterday.
You know, if it's more of like a true ad, something like that, I do think they'd move on from Colton. They're out. We talked a little bit about Malinsky last week. It's like, you know, it's great that that he's, you know, had an uptick in his game, but it's like, what do you do about that? Like, is he good enough that you're comfortable with him being on the second pair moving forward? Like, saying goodbye to, and I know this is a next year problem. They're probably good for now. They probably want like a better 7th than Solovyov, but I mean, you really shouldn't have to pay for a 7th. Probably just go get some veteran that doesn't cost much. But it's like, Malinsky, is he doing well because he's more in kind of a third pair-ish role? Do you trust him enough that you're going to pay him like a top 4 defenseman and play him like a top 4 defenseman? And I think that question hasn't been answered yet. Like, yes, it's found money that he can provide production at his cost and from a third pair role, but we know that can't last. So that's going to be the big question on the horizon. As far as like, you know, is the depth okay for now? I mean, obviously they're winning. Is it good enough to win the cup? I don't know. We'll see. I would like to see more consistency in the scoring department from everybody not on the top line to really feel that way. But right now, is there any realistic solution that makes them better? I don't know. They kind of are going to roll with what they have, I think.
Yeah, I get that feeling as well. I don't hate upgrading at 3C, but I also don't hate rewarding Ross Colton for a job well done.
I still think they'd replace him in a heartbeat. I don't think they care that much.
I think they'd replace him if it made sense, but I think he makes more sense than some of the alternatives that are seemingly on the table right now. That could all change with a single phone call from some team that says, hey, we're trying to shop this guy and we think he fits. But
they shouldn't dump anyone for picks or whatever. I don't think they're going to get rid of anyone on the team just to get rid of them at this point. So, I mean, that's a good thing. I think the less teams, the better. Is he washed up?
Stamkos, is that what you just whispered?
I mean, he
bottom
scored,
6.
He scored 4 goals the other night.
Yeah,
I know that. I guess let me preface this depth conversation by saying I don't think they need to change anything. If they want to stick with what they have, I'm totally cool with it. And the way I kind of worded it in the piece that Brendan was talking about on HockeyMountainHigh.com is that it's a good problem to have. This is a very good problem to have for the Colorado Avalanche. When you're top of the league, blowing the doors off of everybody, this is a very good problem to have, that you have lots of options and lots of different things that you can kind of work the team around and whatnot, because we have seen Gavin Brindley move up to the first line. He's been so good this year. He's been so much fun to watch, and he's gotten that new contract, of course. You've seen Landeskog kind of move up from the third line to the second line, playing bits on the first line with McKinnon and on power play 1, which is excellent to see. Nichushkin, when he came back, was on the third line to start, then has moved back up to the second line. Olofsson's kind of been up and down. Colton's been up and down. Ross Colton's been up and down. So, like, there are different options, and it's great for the Avalanche, right? There's lots of good things going for them. With that being said,
do they trust Brindley enough that he's not going to get replaced?
I think so. I really hope so. I guess that's a better. Let me say I really hope so. I think they do. I really hope so. And remember, all of this is without Logan O'Connor. He has not played a game yet this year. I know he finally skated for the first time in a while. Still don't know when he's coming back, right?
4 weeks.
But
he came back. He skated for the first time in 4 weeks.
Yeah, but like we have no idea when he'll be in game action, I guess is the right thing to say.
Yeah.
So I think O'Connor, he's definitely slotting in, right? There's no way he's not. I guess the bigger question then at that point is, who do you take out? Do you take out Brindley? Please no. Do you take out Kiviranta? I hope so. Because then Kiviranta could kind of play that like 13th forward kind of role, which I would be probably okay with. I think I agree that a seventh defenseman would be good. How they do that, they could move Kiviranta. I think that's kind of I guess trade bait, for lack of a better term, if someone wants to bite on that, because he's coming off of a career year last year. He's only got 2 points this year, which
he was also injured.
Great. He's been injured.
Did anyone see coming that he wasn't going to shoot 30% anymore?
I guess, like I said, the Jeannot thing would be great. I think AJ said it earlier this week that like the Avs should be all over that. I agree with that. That would obviously involve a move like a Ross Colton and probably someone else. So I think that would work. But yeah, I think there's lots of good options, I guess, that the Avalanche have. And that's a good thing. And kind of like I said earlier, they don't need to change anything, and I'm okay if they don't change anything at the moment. But if they want to really swing for the fences and go after, something, aka Sidney Crosby, even though that's not happening.
No,
that's they don't really need to change a lot, and I'm okay with that. And that's a good problem to have all this time.
Yeah. I still think it's a good way to refer to it as kind of like a situationship, which for you kids, that's better than being alone. The Avs just have a lot of options, and they don't really have to commit per se to a certain form of that bottom six because the options are stacking up. Like you said, Logan O'Connor coming back poses the same exact dilemma that Kiviranta coming back did, which is, okay, well then now who leaves the lineup? And all that means is you're bumping a guy that you've proven to be serviceable enough to have the best start in franchise history, basically. So you're in good hands right now. It's kind of like ain't broke, don't fix it where I sit. I think that the roundedness of this lineup comes as a surprise to me personally. And I'm like, well, dang, I didn't know we had it like this. Don't touch it. That's just my humble opinion. And that's depth to me. I think if there's anything you can do, it's add a rangy, long veteran defender to play 7D. But that's a very affordable acquisition and not something that should require you to move a roster player even. That's just how I see it. I think they're pretty well rounded and pretty deep.
To me, I think that is the place I would look, is the left-handed defenseman, because we've seen a lot of games where Manson and Burns are a roller coaster, and maybe the true thing that puts this team that's already over the top, really over the top, is a more consistent second pairing that you really feel comfortable relying on in every situation, which, that's an extreme luxury. Most teams don't have a defense core as good as the Avs. So to be like, they got to get better there is a little bit unfair to what's been going on. But I am constantly worried about a Burns drop off. I am constantly worried about Manson losing some of the, he's touched a little bit. It either goes really well or it goes really poorly with him off. So,
I think it's a good point. Like, are you winning the cup with Burns and Manson on your second pair? I don't know about that.
I don't know either. Yeah. And then, but what encourages me about the current lineup is a Malinsky Girard second pair, a cup winning second pair. I don't think so either, but both of them are like such high quality or like they're both like almost there, both those pairs. So they are the depth is incredible. It's just would adding a left-handed defenseman who you trust a little bit more to really round out that second pair, put them over the top. I think absolutely yes. And we just saw Brett Kulak move to a team that's definitely going to move him. I don't think he's the answer, but he's a guy who's like, okay, there's maybe if they're like, okay, let's get a third pair guy and then move Gerard back up to the second pair. Maybe there's a Kulak. I don't know, but some kind of left-handed D is the only thing I think matters.
And what I think what's going to end up happening for the second and the third pairs, you're going to have to split them up during the playoffs. You're going to have Gerard and you're going to have Sam Malinsky with bigger bodies, because you've seen what has happened with Gerard during the playoffs. He's been thrown into the boards and broken his sternum.
Yeah.
On an incredibly illegal hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
True.
But
True.
I mean, it's my point is that they need to be with someone who's a little bit bigger and a little bit, more, a little bit stronger.
But the other thing is you can't trust Manson to play 20 minutes in the playoffs. Like he is at his best when he's limited.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a big, strong thing.
You can trust him to scare the hell out of Mason Marchment.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was great last night.
I'll take like anybody who, whether they're big or small or whatever, if they are just like so solid defensively that whatever's happening on the right side is fine, then they can pair with any of our current bottom four guys and make a really strong pair. That's a luxury. That's not something that you can just find. So maybe it's not worth paying for because the team's already as good as it is, but you can't be trusting Solovyov with any real minutes. Mm-hmm. So you have to find one more defenseman that you.
I think that's a question in itself. Like, what are they going to do with him?
Yeah, and I watched him.
Well,
him up in Loveland the last couple games, and he even admitted that the first game on Friday night, he was like, "Yeah, that was a bad game for me." And
I wouldn't hate him being a part of a package with Olofsson.
I don't think he has any value. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is he's sat for 5 weeks not playing a game, and he said that it's tough to go that long without playing a game, and to even be thrown at the AHL level, which is it's a slower game. We'll admit it. It's a little bit of a slower game, and he struggled.
Yeah. He didn't look good with his time at the Avs either, in my opinion. But we kind of all know
he had some flashes.
Yeah.
Well, that happens a lot when NHL guys go to the AHL because it's not the same. So, like, I think the perception is that if you can be like competent in the NHL, you should be like amazing in the AHL, and it doesn't really work that way.
Ask Ben Myers.
Yeah.
Well, we don't.
Who we saw.
You don't want him to get me going about Ben Myers.
I just want to put out there on the record, I think we should not trade Victor Olofsson. I think he's a very sneaky pick. I feel like he could be an Andre Burakovsky sort of guy, especially when the playoffs roll around. I love him, and I want him to stick.
So I'll ask you this, Ben.
Brent,
would you rather trade him? So if you had to, Ross Colton or Olofsson?
I guess it depends on the
real upgrade. A real upgrade at center probably requires one of those two guys.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the return, like who the Avs would be trading for. If it's a center, it would probably be Colton. I have to guess. I never touched on this. I look at it this way also. Gavin Brindley has 9 points, which that's good, especially for
kind of what we thought he was. Trying to adjust.
I know. Yeah. Ross Colton getting paid $3 million more has only 5 more points than him. And you think Ross Colton's had time on the power play, he's had time up the top 6. You would think that he would have more, and I think he's kind of been the guy that has kind of, I guess, chickened out for that. No, not chickened out. What's the word I'm looking for? Singled out for the lack of a better term of for his price, he's maybe not living up to it.
Yeah, I think they would if they got a real replacement. I think they would replace him.
Yeah, that's my thinking behind it.
That argument also is part of why I think Olofsson, because Colton, has so many other ways to be effective. And he's been an effective player despite only scoring 5 more points than Gavin Brindley. And Gavin Brindley has shown up and done what we wanted out of Olofsson, right? So to me, Brindley's emergence, and if he keeps it up and we feel like we can trust him going into a playoff situation, or if, I guess I should say if the team, I'm a journalist, if the team thinks they can trust him, then I think that makes Olofsson the expendable piece, because Colton is more versatile and useful in other situations. But ultimately, it's that cap number that's going to decide, because if they're trading for somebody who costs like $7 million, then the only option is Colton.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who's closer to 4 or 5, no, I think, yeah, 5, I think it would still work with Olofsson. But yeah, if it's somebody who's a little cheaper, then either one. And to me, it's, Olofsson, the potential highs are really high, but when he's not scoring, he's just not been. He's better defensively than I thought.
Does he have any future with the team? Like,
no, I don't think either of them does.
So Olofsson's just on a 1-year deal, and like I think he's fine to have around. Like I don't think he was an issue to have around not scoring like Tatar was. So I think like you're okay with, considering the price tag, you're okay with sort of the intermittent scoring with Olofsson, but it's like, can you really keep that guy though? Like if he does anything, then he's going to raise his price too much. So I just think he's like a temporary
That's the
solution.
thing is Tatar came in, lit it up at first, and then just fell off a cliff.
Well, I don't think he's as useless as Tatar.
Yeah.
Like I think he's okay to have in the lineup and to play if he's not scoring. But so to me, it always, I don't look at it as like this year and then the sun goes out July 1st. So I'm always thinking about like what's also better for the future. But I get with this season they're having, this probably is like, I don't know, the last hurrah. So I guess it doesn't really matter about the future. But I think Olofsson's way more expendable just because I doubt he's going to be here next year regardless. But the Colton thing does have more baggage with it because you're not just moving him to move him, but I think they would love to have more of a traditional 3C, somebody they trust a little bit more. Because Colton can play center, but you can tell that Bednar does not prefer that. And with his little wish list comment about wanting a 3C, they just don't want to put Colton there. So I do think they have a hole now and in the future. It's just, you can't just disappear Colton. Like, something needs to happen there.
And they may end up having to retain salary with Colton if they get rid of him, probably.
Colton does also have another year, which
not with the inflation.
Colton does have another year. Olofsson does not. Obviously, Colton has one more year. 26-27 is when his contract expires. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. I have to look at Philip Deneau's numbers because I feel like that's a solid pick right now, or at least a solid idea of someone like the Avalanche could make a move for. But
I doubt LA really wants Colton, but
I mean, if Deneau really wants out, then LA's
5 points.
Yeah,
5 points.
He's at 5.5.
His numbers are very bad. His defensive impacts are very bad. Theoretically, he's a guy who, if you wanted to say, "Oh, change of scenery," he's going to be better. Down the lineup, he's going to be better. Maybe, but he's also a lot older than we remember, and he just is not. I'm afraid of that acquisition.
I think he's the type of player that Bednar wants in that role.
Definitely.
How old is Deneau?
I think he's 34.
Oh God, is he really?
I think
32.
so. Let me look. 32.
32.
Okay, that's not as bad as
32. He's 6'1", 201 pounds. And he's only getting like 13 and a half minutes right now. I have 5-on-5 time.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like, it has to be a bona fide upgrade. It has to be perfect 3C for me to be like, okay. And I don't even know who that is.
Also, I do want to mention that Alan Walsh, his agent, did tweet out with the guy who like said, "Oh, you know, I have sources saying that Philip Deneau wants out," and he's like, Alan Walsh like quoted his tweet saying that, "Okay, well, you didn't reach out to me, so I don't know who the heck your sources are."
Yeah, that's funny.
So you may want to get in touch with the agents.
Yeah. That wouldn't be the first time an agent slyly covered his own ass when he was in fact the one who leaked the information.
Well, yeah, but you get my point.
I will say that is very interesting. But I do want to cap that today. We've gone on I've held you guys in captivity for 15 extra minutes. So thank you for this extended episode of the Mile High Hockey Lab. I do want to end with a couple of notes. I loved the fact that Nathan MacKinnon is still on pace for a 70-goal season. Good God Almighty. I also loved that Brent Burns and Josh Manson turned into the Bash Bros against Mason Marchment for a couple of seconds in last night's contest. And as soon as Mason Marchment saw that Josh Manson was not wearing his gloves, he tried to get into the stands, basically. Like, if he could have gotten over the glass and into a seat, he would have done it. So that was glorious. And, of course, the Avalanche just keep winning games, with a game against Minnesota, a game against the Mammoth, and then a game against, who was it that we talked about? The Jets. The Connor Hellebuck and the Jets, finally. So keep your eye on that, folks, and please head on over to the website, milehighhockey.com. Give us a follow on social media. We're on X at Mile High Hockey, and the podcast itself is at MHH_lab, all caps. Feel free to give a visit to the site, Hockey Mountain High, where you can find Evan Liu and Brendan Votes material as well. Give them a follow on their preferred social media platform. I want to thank the four of you very much for joining me today. Hopefully our bold predictions come true, and we all get the presents that we all hope for as well from Santa Claus, because I don't know how that will figure into next week's schedule. So if we don't see you all, we hope you do have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to whatever holiday it is that you celebrate this time of year. And we really, really appreciate you choose us for your Avalanche content. Please feel free to bring it up at the Christmas dinner table and talk about how Adrian puts his foot in his mouth every week, and it's hilarious. That would be doing us quite a solid. But on behalf of myself, Adrian Hernandez, Ezra Parter, Jackie K, Evan Liu, and Brendan Vogt, this has been the 123rd edition of the Mile High Hockey Lab. And until next time, go Avs.
That's creepy.
Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Yes, sir, the bobblehead.